Who goes first?
Sabutai.
So I was playing the predecessor, and because I was playing Absolute Annihilation before that, I was playing XTA. It's all based on one engine, Spring engine, and it was very long ago. I was Googling for the Total Annihilation demo recorder. So I was interested in Total Annihilation demos. Okay. I wasn't playing myself, but I was just looking, okay, that was an interesting game when I was younger, and perhaps I can have a look how pros played that game, because the exponential economy was interesting and stuff like that. And so I found that demo recorder, and I saw, oh, they've turned it into a 3D player, so you could watch those replays in 3D, and they were talking on their website about turning it into a game, and that's how I found the engine. I found the name in a science fiction book. I just liked the name, the sound of it. It was a technical handbook about some like starfighter stuff, space planes, something like that.
I actually Googled it as well. I think it's from BattleMech.
Battletech, exactly.
Battletech, yes.
Isn't it also like a Mongolian general? Pretty sure.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
in Conan the Barbarian, the movie.
It's
Also,
everywhere.
Yes. It just has a nice ring to it, and I like the sound of it. Commander Zod.
My turn. So the first question was that how I found Beyond All Reason. So has to be 0K. So 0K, like for those who don't know, like it's also based on Spring RTS, just like Beyond All Reason. But yeah, it's kinda, even though the engine is the same for the majority, it's a very different game, or kind of different game. And how I found 0K was that I liked Supreme Commander, and some day, like a decade ago, I was looking for open source games for Linux, and 0K was like something that popped up and was a fun game to play, but I didn't play it that much. I played maybe 100 games against bots, and sometimes with friends, or several times with friends, but still like never like competitively or anything like how I played Beyond All Reason now. Yeah. And how I came up with the name Commander Zod, it's from Zit. I don't know how to pronounce it. Like it's a RTS game from the 90s.
The robots.
Yes, just like Beyond All Reason, etc. It has only robots. Yeah, I used it in the like over 20 years ago, like almost 30 years ago, when I played some online games. So I decided to use that in Beyond All Reason as well. Yeah, I have to admit that there was like 20 years in between that I didn't use it. So, for example, in Twitch, I'm OC Petrus stuff. Yeah, I wanted to change the name again, so I took the old name.
So I found Bar like on a random YouTube video in my algorithm, like kind of a long time ago. I never played it. It was like RTS, amazing 16v16 or something. I don't know, it was like a crazy game with like a bunch of units. And I watched it for 5 minutes and I was like, what is this? This looks awful. This looks like a game from the like 90s. And then because I watched like 5 minutes of the video, I kept getting bar videos recommended in my algorithm, and eventually I came across like a Drongo video, and I watched that one, and it kind of made me interested in playing it, and so I wanted to play it with my friends because at the time we didn't really have any games, and then I played some bot games, and that's kind of where I am now. I've only been playing Bar for, I don't know, maybe less than a month. So I'm relatively new. No, it's just the UI. Like the UI needs some improvements, but you know, it's the gameplay is definitely, the gameplay is not an old game. The gameplay is a new game. But as far as the UI goes, it definitely could use some improvements. No offense to the Bar team.
Like, do you mean in-game or the lobby?
Just yeah, like both, I guess. Like the lobby UI is not up to par to modern games, obviously, because there's not as many developers. But yeah, I really love Bar. I've been loving my experiences so far, and like I said, I'm pretty new, so I'm still learning a lot. In terms of my name actually comes from Oblivion. If you guys, or the Elder Scrolls games, if you guys ever played those. So my name used to actually be Magica, like how Magica is used, like mana in those games, and then I changed it to Magic. And yeah, that's where I got my name. Also, I think it'd be interesting to note that I'm not an RTS player. Like I am an FPS player. I've been playing FPS since I was very young. I played Counter-Strike. I played at a pretty high level in Counter-Strike. I played Valorant at a high level when it first came out, and then I kind of
Okay.
retired from first-person shooters for a little bit. I
So
still
next
play
week,
like
next week, if they release Counter-Strike 2, you will be gone from Beyond All Reason. Is that right?
nah. I left my FPS days behind, but I still play casually. Like I don't know if you guys know EFT, Escape from Tarkov. I've been playing that recently. Yeah, it's like extraction shooter. So I still play some FPSs, but not nearly as much as I used to. Like that used to be my main game, just FPSs.
Right. Yeah, I haven't played FPS in quite a while as well. But I used to play them quite a bit as well. Especially like in the school days when you could play them with your school friends. Like Call of
Yeah.
Duty, of course, and stuff like that. Yeah, now I could talk about, but like it probably began because my older brother liked RTS games, and so I saw him play Supreme Commander when I was younger and other RTS games, and so I used to play them as well. And yeah, like when I got a bit older, I played Planetary Annihilation. Then later, I played a little bit of Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, but I didn't play it that much. Yeah, other RTS games, Company of Heroes, and then later on StarCraft. Like this was probably before Forged Alliance, I think. Played that quite a bit. And then I saw it on Winter Gaming's channel first, I think, and on Drongo's channel. And yeah, it looked good, the game, and I was new to it as well because I just started playing shortly before the holidays began. So I had time then to try stuff out because not much was going on, and I could play some RTS again, which I liked when I was younger. Yeah, it's in game. It's just about a lot, just because I think it sounds nice. I think as if the Spartan Warrior Society was always fascinating when I was younger. I think so.
That's
Yeah,
actually
it's
him in
fitting.
real life. That's a
Yeah,
photo of him.
I look like that. That was photo shooting, and then it was drawn again. So it looks a bit different, but that's kind of me.
Yeah. It's a slightly edited photo of him on
Yeah,
Halloween.
it's redrawn, but like I can send you the original photo.
Very
That's
serious.
how we trained.
Yeah, it was even more strict. Yeah, the only option was either dying during the battles in the tournament or coming back with a crown on a shield.
And we did both.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best time.
Try practicing with him, or try learning from him. Hey guys, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna.
And yeah.
He's about to say something very important. All right, I try finishing the sentence.
It is very frustrating. Terrible internet connection. Millions, yes, of course.
New computer, new internet.
Well, actually, I ordered a new PC because my PC hardware is still from 2014, so the money wasn't quite enough for the new PC, but yeah.
Almost. I bought a Lamborghini with mine, but it was almost enough to pay off the lease. In regards to what? I mean, we won, so I guess pretty good. Some bullet points that I took away from it were we played really well. We communicated very well. No one could compete with us, not even close, on any land map. Like we would just absolutely dominate land maps. I think C maps we struggled with heavily, and you could definitely tell even with our communication, we didn't really know what we were doing on C maps. So if anyone did want to try to beat us legitimately, I think C maps would have been the way to go. The commander bombs were kind of sleeper, in my opinion, but I knew that like they knew it was their only way of winning, so kind of understandable because the only real game we did play against them, we beat them in like 6 minutes. So
It went kind of expected. So I gave us a very good chance of winning the tournament. First of all, because everyone was struggling to find players, and our team was practicing, and we had a game plan on how to win the tournament. So there might always be something happening that you can't predict, like the comm drops and stuff like that, or rushing one player and then it snowballs. But I gave us a good chance of winning. And yeah,
could
that
you repeat
happened.
that, Sabutai?
We were prepared, like in one sentence. We were prepared. So I gave us a good chance. So the first thing that happened was that I was very early on the channel, on the Discord channel, sending a message, hey, I'm looking for team members. So being one of the first, or probably the first to promote, has its advantages. And you'll find players who are active, who are interested. And that's how I found some. But others, we were practicing, and I directly noticed, okay, this is a good player. We should ask him to join us. And what I tried to do was also to vet how well they played, and there were a few factors that I wanted. So they would have to be on voice, and they would have to be willing to learn, and they would have to be aggressive. And this aggressiveness, it's something that you can practice, or that you have, that's already part of your character as a player. And so what I did is I played 1v1s with them, just to see on what level they were. And I also wanted to see how aggressive they were. And if you have an aggressive player, that's a big bonus. You can tell quite quickly if you're playing 1v1s, if they send scouts, if they keep harassing, or if they try moves, you can tell very quickly. I don't think so. This is the reason we're having this, or had this tournament, was that we wanted to give new players an opportunity to play in a team, to progress, to learn, and you can't expect new players to know anything about the game, actually. So there's not much you can look for except for perhaps character, and maybe how much time does this player have? Is he really interested in getting involved? And so I remember one player, Magic, he asked me, "Are you sure we can win this?" And it sounded like he was hungry, like he wouldn't join our team if I had said, "Oh no, we don't have a chance at all." I don't think he would have joined. Is that so? Or am I just interpreting?
No, yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to know, like, I wanted to know what you thought of our team, like about me specifically, if you thought you could win with me, because I don't, like I had said back then, I didn't want to waste your guys' time, and I didn't want to waste my time. It's like if all of our goals is to win the tourney, and we have like determination and the time to put into it, like I'm down to join the team. But if Sabutai had said like, oh, I don't know, there's a lot of good teams, then maybe I would have not been so inclined. I would have asked him to find someone better than me. Because at the time, I was pretty bad. Like when Sabutai and I first 1v1, like radar, 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 radar. I didn't put any radars down. I would put like one. I'd be like, bro, the radar is so big. Why do I need more than one? It's got such a big range. So yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons, but they could kill your radar and you don't have a backup one. Well, the reason that I got into trying to join the tournament is because I knew that I was a fast learner, and I knew that if I put my mind to something, that I would be able to succeed. And I think Sabutai kind of could tell just our characteristics, what kind of people we were, if we were the right fit or not. I think Sabutai is really good at that. For me, I wanted Sabutai to understand that I was willing to commit to putting in the effort, but that I wasn't good at that point. And so like I didn't want to pretend like I was something I was not. Like I wanted to play with Sabutai and I wanted to play in this tournament, but I didn't want to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm so good, pick me," and then the day of the tournament comes or when we're practicing and all my flaws show. So I wanted to be very honest, straightforward. Like I'm a straightforward person. Like I told Sabutai, I was like, Sabutai, yeah, listen, I'm brand new to the game. Like I just started playing like a week ago, whatever it was at the time. Um, if you think you can win with me, if you think you can teach me, if you think we can make it, then I'll play. And I told him just like that. And he was like, hey, listen, Rui, you're doing great. You're learning fast. I think we can do it. And I said, okay, I trust you. And that was basically it for me. If Sabotage said like, oh, I don't know, it might take longer to learn or something like that, I may have told him, like I said, to find someone else.
To make it clear, if I had found better players, I would have swapped all of you.
And I wouldn't have blamed you, honestly, because we were, at least me, I was so bad.
No, you guys were doing really well.
Even now, I can't really consider myself good. Like I'm probably just average now. For sure, yeah. Always improvement, but you are very good, Mister. Sabotage is also very good. What does the community say? OP, OP, right? I was like, why does everyone say OP? I don't get like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess I'm actually kind of like polar opposite of Magic. Like, uh, this might sound really bad, but I was not at all ambitious. I thought that like I need to practice like 1-2 hours, and then we just go and like just play for fun, and probably we'll lose all our games, and that's just fine by me. Like maybe our games are streamed, maybe not, but at least I have participated in a tournament, and that was all I was looking for. Uh, but yeah, immediately after like the first coaching session with Sabutai, it was so amazing. It was really like mind-blowingly amazing coaching session. Like during the first hour, I learned so much more that I decided that okay, like if this turns out to be like a really sweaty training, like boot camp style session, then I will just keep it to myself that I'm not looking to win. I don't care, and I just lead the guys on. And yeah, I hope I wasn't dishonest at any point. Like if you would have asked me, like I would have said that okay, this is my goals. But yeah, we practiced a lot, way more than like I would have like in advance expected. But I learned so much, so I'm really happy in retrospective that we did it.
Well, it was also Sabutai, so I was just playing some random games, 2v2s, and he was teaching SOT at that point, and he stumbled into me, and he asked me if I wanted to play in the tournament. I was hesitant, actually, because I didn't really think it would fit for me to play in a tournament. I never played competitively, like with teams. I played competitively in the sense that I played some StarCraft 2 on the ladder, so I had experience from there. And like, but I never communicated with the team and had like a team gameplay for RDS games. And then he just asked for my Discord, and we chatted a bit, and I found it to be fitting. I still wasn't sure at that point, but yeah, like it's amazing how accelerated your learning is if you have a proper coach in games like these. Like I have a lot of experience with other RTS games, so the basics were quick for me, and I think I already knew most of the stuff. And I went through settings guide on YouTube, which also helps a lot because there are some hidden things that you don't understand about RTS games, especially with controls. But he then taught all the different concepts of this RTS. And yeah, and at that point, it was just fun playing the games and being able to learn so quickly because there's someone who has so much experience and who can express himself so well to teach all of this. And
were you
so we
playing for
played
fun?
almost every evening, and it was nice.
Were you playing for fun or to win, Sparta?
Mostly for fun and for the experience to actually say that I competed in a tournament. And yeah, it's like different from playing normal team games because you really have a team. You know how your teammates play, you can communicate with them. It was just a lot more fun than jumping into random lobbies.
Did you
Even though
guys
we
expect
say
to win?
after I asked you, yeah. But I think it's important to say while we all say we played for fun, I think it's important to say we all are very competitive. Like Zod is competitive. Even when
Am
we're
I?
doing practice games, Sparta's competitive, Sabotai's competitive. So while sometimes we did play for fun, I think it would not be fair to say that we weren't trying to win actively.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. I mean, everyone wants to win. Like even in board games or other stuff, I try to win. Otherwise, it's not fun for me. I am annoyed if I make obvious mistakes. I try to correct them. So that's my personal type. I try to always improve when I really want things like that.
No, yeah, it's just like when you use the language like, "Oh, I was playing for fun," it kind of makes it seem like, "Oh, I wasn't really trying," you know. And that's not really. We were trying, obviously, and we are
Yeah, that's
competitive.
true. That's true. But hey, to answer Sabutai's questions, were we expecting to win? So my biggest worry was that like we would get nervous, and like if we go into the tournament thinking that okay, we are maybe the best team, like some people kept saying that we are like the favorites or something. Like I think Dolphy said it like that. I can't remember anymore. But like that was definitely my worry going into the tournament, that we get nervous and don't play our normal game.
Yeah,
So,
we did, yeah.
do you think so? I think that we were surprisingly like we were talking all the time and like joking around and stuff. I think we were surprisingly like on point and focused the game.
There was one game in particular. It was only one game, but it was one game where I think it was the first game of the playoffs when we had all just got online and I had just woken up because like the time zone for me is very different. I think I was waking up at like 7 to play or something like that, and it was definitely a bit shaky. I would admit. Even after the game, we were like, "Oh, I'm glad it's over because now we can move on."
It wasn't 7 for you. It was 9 in the morning for you.
It wasn't 9 for me. It was
I
7.
think there's a 6-hour difference. The tournament started at 3 p.m. and he called you at 9 o'clock. So
I don't think
Yeah,
it
I
was
had to wake
9.
you up.
I thought it was
yeah,
like 7 or 8. Maybe not. Maybe it was 9. I don't remember anymore.
must have been 9 for you, I think. Yeah, still, I mean, sometimes sleep rhythms are different for people. So yeah. Felt like 6 at least for you, apparently.
Wait, what do you mean?
That it felt very early for you because it's,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought it was 7, maybe, or 8. Maybe it was 9. No,
yeah, it
not
doesn't
sure.
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Next question.
It was a challenge, and as you can see, I get these disconnects. 1v1 isn't an option for me, actually. It's just terrible playing like this. So having a team that can carry me makes more sense. And yeah, for the challenge.
Yeah, we carried Sabutai so hard, dude.
Yeah, that was great. So I probably had per game, I wouldn't say 20 disconnects. The same as our Discord call here. I just get them all the time, and
Also, I do think a big thing was that Sabutai told us like not to be super reliant on him. Like he kind of gave us a lot of freedom in being able to be independent in that way. Whereas like I saw on other teams, there would be players that just play SimCity and feed their good player, and I'm not 100% sure how like which one's more efficient. I guess since we won, maybe ours is more efficient. I don't know, but I did notice on other teams they would have like one player didn't even play the game, just like built wind turbines and fed the star player.
you can slingshot one player, preferably the captain, this way. But when it boils down to it, if you have several lanes, it boils down to a 1v1 situation. And I always wanted our team members to be able to win their lanes and also win the game, to basically carry on their own, because anything might happen. I might get dropped, I need to evacuate, run away with my commander, and I might get ganged, I might be preoccupied with fending off several attacks. I would be probably busy surviving somehow. And what I wanted every team member to be able to carry themselves, to let me defend and them go on the offensive and clear up the enemy bases from the back, basically. Because I knew I could do that, but I might not be in the situation to do that. There were several factors. The most important are the basics. and I kept repeating, drilling the basics. As I said, it boils down to 1v1s, and then if you manage your 1v1, you can try to gang on another player. So what we did is we always played 1v1s, we played 2v2s, very small games, just to be able to use your scouts effectively to survive in your lane, and that was the most basic thing you could do. So part of the basics is your base building, how you expand, how you build your base after a few minutes, how to push, how to and where to place your lasers, your radars, stuff like that. And everything else came after that. That's like the most important of all. Adding to the basics, we also had like coaching sessions. We watched the replays of our games. We had you, Master Bell, to help us. We had Flash. We had Dolphy. Had interviews with them. We played games with them, and that gave us some insight into how they play, how they see the early game, and that was also, like, I would say, fun, not only learning but also fun. And we also did like crazy stuff like degun sessions where everyone had to degun increasing amounts of pawns and stuff like that.
That should honestly be a game mode. It was lots of fun. In StarCraft 2, something like that actually existed. I think it was called like Micro Wars tournament or something like that. You would have like a predefined army like for every player, and then you would like have like one versus one like micro battles. Yeah.
You see, the commander is so strong with his D-gun, and you need the confidence to move out, and if there are some stray units, you really have to engage them and you have to win. And if you've done this several times already, you won't be afraid to use your commander, and that's what you have to do. In particular, with this balance, with this ultra strong commander, you have to use him aggressively.
Well, I think analyzing, like Sabutai said, so playing the match and going right after the match through the replay to learn from the mistakes. And I mean, also the coaching, just like if there's an experienced player and he's your teacher, it's just way quicker to learn.
I think the number one thing, in my opinion, was just straightforwardness. Like, at least with like the way that I like to learn things is like, I just prefer someone tell me what it is that I did wrong or whatever and move on. I think like sometimes people get into a weird rhythm where they over explain or they go on weird tangents when they're trying to teach. And I think Sabotage does a really good job of just saying like, hey, this is a very basic thing that you could improve on, boom. And then you know, on over repetition, you get better at that basic thing. And yeah. Sometimes it's like, if I did something wrong and then he like explains the whole game, like I'm not gonna remember everything, you know.
Well, 2 weeks wasn't enough to teach everything, so had to repeat the most basic things and hope that they stick. Air, T2, stuff like that.
C.
C, yes, we could have done more C, obviously.
Well, they did.
Well, we did, but not
I just
enough.
wasn't here. When they went over C, I wasn't there, so I was like kind of in the dark a little bit on that one. For
Just
me, it was not enough games.
Yeah, same. I was just about to say lack of experience. Like for example,
Yeah,
yeah,
like how to counter subs, how to counter certain play styles. Like Zlo, in my opinion, is very good in the water, and I had to compete against him twice, and yeah, it wasn't great for me.
Yeah, it wasn't great for me either. I played against CLO in C on at least 2 maps. Like the Tundra map, where it went really bad for us all against him on C. And then the beach map, he also was in C, and I was against 2 players. So that game was just me holding on for as long as possible, but I didn't really have much impact. Yeah.
Well, you held on long enough. You held that lane. You ultimately lost the lane, but that was all right because you holding long enough won us the game.
Yeah, me and Zod were able to win our side while you were holding your side, so it actually worked out for us.
Yeah, and I mean the fun thing for me was when I was eliminated, I lost everything. I could micro your units, magic, and they actually killed his commander in the end.
I think you were microing Zod's commander or bots.
Yeah, it was Sots bots. Yeah, you went hover, Sot went bots.
yeah, I'm slowly starting to remember this game.
Yeah, that game was tough, but then the next game was even tougher because we didn't know you could have land units in the water. So we're like, what the hell? What's going on?
Well, I mean, we were discussing it before on the Tantra game, and then I was asking you, and you, because you played it, like, and I was just spectating, but I couldn't remember it either. You said, like, they could only pass the Tantra map because the commander exploded, so I had remembered that. And you guys said you didn't really remember if land units could pass on the map, but yeah, they could at 2 points. And so it just went all wrong because then suddenly scouts destroyed the base of Sword. And yeah, and I noticed on the map that the title was really bad, and suddenly I didn't have energy because we wanted to lab share as well on the naval to try and win on
Yeah,
Tundra, but that didn't work either. Yeah, because I
Sparta,
didn't
I
have.
watched that, but you had like 200 energy. I was like, oh no. It was like really bad for us because the title is bad on that map.
That was a terrible game.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing for sure. And Zlo played really well. Kudos to Zlo. He's probably not watching, but played really well on that map.
Testing one,
Who
two, three.
organized his interview? Oh my.
Is this working now? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Who organized his interview?
Okay, they can hear my voice now. Okay.
Nah.
I'm not sure why that wasn't working. Is it working now? Yeah, it's working now. Don't know why that wasn't working. Can you guys on stream hear me now? Let me know in chat. Alright. I guess we'll continue. And sorry people on the stream if you haven't been able to hear me. Yeah. Okay. How did you feel after the tournament? So you've mentioned that you were a bit nervous during the tournament. How did you feel after the tournament?
I felt empty. Couldn't believe that it was over somehow. Like it was all about the journey, and then when it was over, I didn't know what to think. Just
Okay.
emptiness.
Yeah, Zod was sad. I was pretty happy. I mean, I got a little loud on multiple occasions in that tournament. You know.
Yeah,
That's
I think
just me.
that's. Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, go.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice for you to be so happy about it. I think the thing that made me not so happy with the tournament was just the way the finals went because of the comp drops. So on the first day of the tournament, I wasn't nervous at all because we just stomped all the games. They were so I wasn't very excited, but I got nervous as soon as CLO won his first map against us in the finals, because then I knew they would only need to comp drop us and we would be dead, because comp dropping is just so strong, especially if a team suddenly does it. And that was the whole feeling for me. Like, I wrote it in the Discord before the tournament even started, that comp dropping is just so deadly, and that was why we trained it on Friday before the tournament. But I still found it to be extremely strong. And yeah, so I was very nervous in the final games then, especially against a Team X Factor when he comp dropped you the first time with a 2-minute comp drop or even less. Yeah. Afterwards, I felt empty as well, to be honest, and I was just disappointed by the finals because I didn't get to play against this team properly.
Yeah.
Even the Theta match was over so quickly.
Yeah, it is interesting because I talked a bit with some of their team after, and it sounds like they got really scared after I beat them in that second game of our matchup in the semis. And that they were like, the only way we're gonna win this is by cheesing it, and so that's a little bit disappointing that they didn't really have faith in their ability to play the game, but and so because of that, it seems like they chose to play in a way that almost certainly meant that they lost. Yeah.
Can you blame them though? The only real match we played against them, we beat them so quick.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have tried other things, like going on Navy maps. They saw that we were really weak on C and that Sabutai never went on C. So if, for example, X Factor went in C instead, he could have had a good chance against us. I think overall with unconventional maps where we can't just beat them with scouts already.
They don't really have control over that though because of the wheel. They can't choose a C map. They choose a C map. Oh, it's dry. Okay.
Yeah, the last one, I remember the last map was dry, and I watched the replay afterwards, and they actually placed in very creative ways that I think that would have countered our counter to the comp drop very well. Like they were placing like the players and like the far ends of the map that now were dry and had like nice metal spots, etc. I think that they would have gotten like really nice map control if they just would have stuck to the like their what I assume it was their original game plan for that game.
I think they were just doing that so that if we were watching the stream, we didn't know they were comp bombing. I don't think they were actually going to go through with that setup that they had.
Okay, but
Yes, perhaps they were discussing in that moment what to do. I
would
think
be
if they
interesting to
had
ask them, I
stuck
guess.
to that. Pardon me?
I was just saying it would be interesting to ask them and find out what they were thinking about that.
Yeah. But if they had stayed spread out like that, we could have singled them out and we could pick them off one by one.
Yeah, I think especially because they already experienced some Theta crystals, like their team collapsed with a little early aggression from us already.
But our early aggression would have been far weaker because of how we started the game, as we were countering the comp drop cheese.
Yeah, it would have put us at a disadvantage getting those anti-air and me getting those AA bots. But that wouldn't be unsurmountable. We're still the better team. I believe we still would have won that.
I agree with Sabutai. And I think that they knew that as well.
Yeah, so it was the smartest decision to actually try and win the match and the tournament.
Yeah, because you make a good point, Sparta, about the C map. It's like they can't choose.
Yeah, I forgot about it, that it was even without C on that map. Usually it would have been C, but yeah.
And who knows if they even practice C? Like maybe their C is worse than ours. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think a funny comment that I read on Twitch was that X Factor shouldn't have shared the transports and just migrated them himself. Maybe it would have worked better.
Yeah, maybe.
Viable tactic.
they needed to drop away from the base, not in the middle of the base.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's what we practiced. Getting
Yeah.
AA bots where you can't see the range, and that would have
Yeah.
been extremely difficult.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, I
was
think
already
If
walking
if
my.
they had dropped far away, you guys in front, you had AA, so they would have to fly around those AA bots, and we could use the time, use your commanders to walk towards them.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
exactly what I was doing with my commander.
It would have been difficult for them,
yes,
but
especially.
it would have been possible.
Yeah, sorry. Especially because, like you said, the anti-air bots, I think they didn't even properly see them because you don't see the AA range of them. So it was difficult for them, I think. They weren't expecting it either, I think.
And the range is much larger, so it helps.
A little larger than a static, but yeah, it's even larger than static AA.
I don't think it's a little, right? I think it's like 200 more, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was 780 on the normal AA and 800 on the rocket bots, so only 20 more.
Let me find out just to make sure.
While
I
you
thought it
look
was
that
more
up,
than that.
while you look that up, I'll ask the next question. Oh, you guys have talked about a little bit about what you did and didn't like about the tournament, but what would you say would be like the best and the worst things about the tournament?
Like objectively or in terms of our experience?
In terms of your experience.
The best thing was training a team, training players that can compete with the best players. Giving some of that experience and having 2 weeks, two shared weeks, and getting to know people and their characters and working together, improving as a team. Obviously winning.
Yes. How about you other
Yeah,
guys?
for me, I would say the best was becoming friends with everybody and getting to know them and learning together. It was a really fun, cool experience. And I'd say the worst was when it ended, because then it was like, oh well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Best part was the friendship, and is the friendship, still is ongoing, and yeah, and also it was great to learn. Like I've learned so much, so that has been great.
Yeah, and Zod was very good at writing everything down. Like when there'd be a lot of times when I wouldn't be online, and he would give me like the TLDR.
Awesome.
So even when Sabutai wasn't there, I had Zod and Sparta to kind of guide me in the right direction.
And I must
So I
say
think
that worked very well because I didn't have so much time. I tried to make as much time as possible, but you guys shared, you taught each other, you coached each other, you practiced together. That was really good, great.
Yeah, like to be as much as I appreciate the time I had with Sabutai, I didn't have like a crazy amount of time with Sabutai. I actually learned the most when I was playing with Zod and Sparta, because they would kind of tell me what happened during the day, give me, like I said, the TLDR, and they were also teaching me in a way.
Yeah, it's true. I remember many times that like something that Sabutai had said, like I had already forgotten, but then Sparta would say it like in game that hey, why aren't you doing this? That hey, like didn't we agree?
Yeah.
And like
So it was definitely a team effort.
Yeah.
Everyone played their part.
Yeah, maybe back to your original question, what we like best about the tournament. So I really like just giving new players the experience, because for us, it was way more exciting than for you guys, I think. Like, you already had so much experience with the game, and like for you, it's not that exciting to play in a tournament, but giving new players the chance to competitively play in such a game is just a great opportunity, I think. And I can even imagine that it was a lot more fun for us new players than it was for you coaches even.
I wouldn't be
But I
surprised.
think it's
Yeah.
Oh no. Seeing you compete with top players, that was great. We had not only the tournament, but we had some practice games where we fared really well. I remember that one game against Barcast and Spring TV, which we won. That was brilliant. Like the feeling you get having someone improve in such a way that he can play competitively, holding their own, brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for us veterans, it wasn't captains. It wasn't maybe not so much the tournament that was so exciting for us, but it was working with you newer players who didn't have the same experience and elevating your performance through the practice and through playing with you and seeing that improvement, and that was amazing. I love that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great point that you I mean, you guys put in a lot of effort as well. I mean, especially Sabutai. I mean, we trained so much. He had made so much effort to try and teach it in a good way. It really worked out in the end. And yeah, I think it's overall just very healthy for a game if it also hosts tournaments for players that aren't as highly ranked as you pro players, because it gives an opportunity to compete on different levels of a game.
And there's a skill to it too, to being able to collaborate with players of different skill levels, both for newer players to learn to work with experienced players and the other way around too. And so, in a way, the tournament was very much a test of skill, and that's wonderful.
I remember that one training game that we did against Stardom, and he was really smacking me, and I had like one con left, that's all, only one constructor, and you guys supported me, defended my lane, and then you bombed him. That was a great feeling. Winning against a game against a player like Stardom.
I guess the most memorable game for me from the training sessions is the one where Sabotai actually recruited me, because I was playing with another guy from the DME clan. So he played very well. We were playing on Comet Culture, and Sabotai was training Sod, and we actually managed to win that game. So I was playing against Sod and Sabotai, but we still managed to win it, and there was a pretty big rank gap. And that was actually a match that Sabotai wrote to me. It was kind of a fun match for me. Because I was like starting up the game just expecting to get wrecked on Comet Catcher,
Yeah.
but we actually managed to win that.
And that's a great feeling to go from there's no way we win this to actually winning this. Yeah.
And getting recruited.
Yeah. So I guess this is a bit of a final session, and we've been streaming for about 1 hour 47 minutes now. So I guess I'll start wrapping this up. But I just wanted to know, and this is a bit of a pointed question, but you've, beyond everything you've learned about playing the game itself, like tactics, unit micro, control, communication, all these things, you've also had experience with learning and just playing with a team. And there are a lot of players like who talk about how they're sick of the 8v8. They wish there would be more 4v4s and stuff like that. What is there anything you could say about that? That could encourage people to play 4v4s, or change anything about the way they play bar at at that sort of a level, like playing with a set team or whatever. Like, is there anything from your experience that you would recommend that people do that they can learn and enjoy the game so much more?
Well, if I
Can
can go
anyone?
first, like in my opinion, like the veteran advice is very much true. It's spot on. I think it applies to all noobs. Like I think that the best way, especially if you want to improve, if that's your goal, like then like playing lane maps is definitely the way to go. Personally, I don't see it as a problem that people play 8v8, but like what is it called, like Supreme Straight, that's not a lane map at all. So I think that that's horrible for learning the game. And also glitters, like there's way too like it's kind of like a lane map for a few players, but it's still not at all. Like I don't think you get a like proper feedback that how you did in your lane in glitters. It's way too technical. And instead, like I think like maps like Bismuth Valley would be a lot better for people who want to learn the game properly.
And you say maps where you can get better feedback, because that's what you're missing when you play a map like Supreme Straight, that you don't get effective feedback.
Yes, yeah. So how can I elaborate on that? Like I think in Supreme Straight, like first of all, if you have like a good team coordination, like just a few days ago, like I couldn't find any game, so I joined a straight game, and after the fact I realized watching Twitch TV that it was Kioma, but it was like the highest rated player in our team with a weird name, and he was telling everyone in advance, like during like the loading time, that what our roles were and what we should do. Like it was not the normal, like okay, we have 2 front line and 2 mid line, whatever. He was giving very specific, like that this is the game plan, and he literally said that in 12 minutes this game is over, and he was spot on. Like we just ran over them. Like stuff like this can happen on Supreme Straight, just because like I think that it's too technical. Like you can invent so many different things how to play the map. That then like if you are like a new player, and everything in this game is extremely complicated, so it's just like overwhelming. There's too many variables, so you will not understand that okay, was this the problem or was it something else that was the problem, etc. So it's so easy for the human brain to think that okay, no, it's the other players. Like if you play like backline, then you're like no, front line like failed or we lost C, etc. And it can be even that you're right because the map is so complicated. So like if the like 10 things that you invent in your brain that had nothing to do with your play, like if they were different, maybe you would have won. But still, that doesn't give you feedback that okay, what were the like 100 or 1,000 mistakes that you made in your own game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so then you can play like smaller maps with fewer players to just simplify the game a little bit, and so it makes a little more sense. And then you
Yes.
can, and then there's also the role of someone like Sabutai or any of the other veterans who have the experience and the wisdom to look at a game and actually know what was going on, and then they can like almost interpret the game for you and give you feedback from the game, and that can be another good way to get feedback too.
Yes, absolutely. And sorry if I'm hijacking now this question.
Oh no,
like
it's fine.
one more thing that I want to say. Like I've especially like the last few days, I've been active on Discord in various discussions, and I feel like people say that like 1v1 is more stressful. And yeah, this was also on some Twitch streams like last few days. People are saying that 1v1 is more stressful, and I can't understand that at all. Like, for me it's the complete opposite. Like if I play like a 4v4 or 8v8 game, it's far more stressful, because for me like the difference between a 1v1 and when there's like especially if it's something like straight or whatever, like if when you need like with the team like lots of communication and like a game plan, etc., for me it's like extra like dimension to the game. So when it's 1v1, like communication with myself, that I hope is fluent. I don't have any problems
Yeah.
there. Maybe I have, but I hope I don't. And like all the like game plan, etc., it's just in my head. I don't need to communicate. I don't need to like sync with anyone else that, okay, what's the game plan and so forth. So for me it's just like one extra like dimension of complexity has been taken away in 1v1.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a point, of course. Also, the bigger the game, the more and the faster you will have to react, or you won't be able to react to different situations, like bombing runs. You're at the front, you get bombed, you get nuked, T3, things that you won't have any influence on, and that can be very stressful.
Yeah, then you
Yeah.
just go to Discord and write that these air players still don't know how to play.
Yeah,
And
that's a very big
you,
thing.
you might have to face 2, 3, or 4 players all alone, and that can be very stressful. For me in particular, after games like that, it's also the soundscape of it all. Sometimes I just reduce the sound level, or I mute the sound overall, because it gets too much. However, in 1v1s, you have to micro more. Like if you're in a big game, you have perhaps 1 or 2 lanes that you have to take care of, and your base, and that's about it. But if you're in a 1v1, you'll have like 2 or 3 fronts that you have to manage at the same time. Then perhaps another scout, a scout that's running through your base layout, and your commander that might be under attack and stuff like that. So both can be stressful. But I'd say that for me personally, bigger games are less taxing, like less stressful for me personally, because you can't do everything. So you have to focus on your role, and if you don't have any air support, no fighter screen that your allies set up, then you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah. And that
Can't
with
be
that
doing
stress, there's a big thing I've noticed that impacts my stress. It's like I didn't really feel stressed at all playing with my team, and I'd wonder if you'd feel the same way, Sabutai, because you knew them and you knew how they played, and so you knew they couldn't take care of absolutely everything, but you knew you could trust them, and that trust does so much to reduce the stress, because in 8v8, you have up to 7 players on your team that maybe you've played with before once or twice, but you don't know you don't know that you can trust them, because you don't know how they play, you don't know what their strengths and weaknesses are, you know so little, and that's very, very stressful. And
Like
then once
that
you're
one
stressed, yeah.
situation, that one situation where Sparta was against Zilo and another guy in C. Like he was defending his lane against two players. And I was pretty relaxed with the situation because I knew he wouldn't feed. So even
Yeah.
if he would lose, it would take them a hell of a lot of time to break through and to overrun him. So I knew he would manage.
Yeah. And that's a really big thing with, like, if you don't know your team can manage, then you're going to be stressed. And then once you're stressed, once they inevitably make some mistake, then because you're stressed, you're not going to respond in a necessarily helpful way. And like even like voice comms can do so much to improve communication, build that trust, and reduce that stress. But then also on top of that, just knowing the players you play with makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, and I gotta leave soon, so I'll just say this in
All right.
regards to the 8v8s. I do think this game, for me personally, shines the most in team games.
Yeah.
I think that coming from like a FPS competitive FPS environment, I'm maybe more biased towards communicating because I like communicating. I like the team based aspect of things. Um, for me, I think 4v4 is the perfect middle ground between chaos and order because you can kind of have uh like good communication and set strategies in 4v4s, whereas with 8v8, if you have 8 people in a Discord all trying
Yeah.
to talk at the same time and communicate, that seems pretty. I think once matchmaking comes out, we're gonna see a lot more players transition from 8v8s to 4v4s because I think that'll be like 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. I think that'll be like kind of the norm in terms of a competitive format. I think 8v8s will kind of be more casual. So I'm fine with
Yeah.
the 8v8s personally. Not my thing. I understand why people like it,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah. Hey, I 8v8s are definitely fun. I love 8v8s. I remember I I used to like get up early every Saturday morning so that I could catch the players before they went to bed and like maybe get in one or two 8v8s before they all logged off. Um, but
Now you don't need to do that. Now you just go online and stuff. There's got 8v8 somewhere.
yeah. But most of those 8v8s are filled with complete strangers, and
Yeah,
it's not only that, but a different set of complete strangers than there was a month ago. And because I don't play super regularly anymore, um, I feel like every time I log on, different players that I don't know, and it's really different because something I've mentioned in passing before, but I mentioned how Dad used to play the game, but back when it was Balanced Annihilation, I actually used to play with basically my entire family played. Um, I think Mum, Dad, and my 4 siblings all have accounts on the old Spring RTS Soul server, and I think the most we ever got online was 6 of us. Um, Mum, Dad, me, 2 of my brothers, and my sister, and it's like just being able to play with each other, and then we'd talk about the games afterwards. There's honestly nothing I miss more than that, and that experience. And I mean, it becomes impractical after a time because we all have a life, and so I'm basically the only one in the family that plays regularly anymore. But having that experience, I mean, it's convenient if it's family, but you find a group of friends you can play with, and it's exactly the same thing, and it's wonderful.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, I think
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna head out now.
All
I don't know
right,
if you guys
well-
want to continue doing
Yeah,
it.
let's wrap it up.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, everyone, for hanging around. I've had a lot of fun with this conversation, and I hope you guys have too.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
I always have fun with these losers.
Yeah, they've never won anything in their life.
Nope. Definitely not a bar tourney.
Yeah, no. How on earth could they do that? Well, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you continue learning and playing bar. And I hope to see you around and play games in the future.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, cheers.
Okay.
See you.
It was
Cheers,
good
guys.
talking to you.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
later.
See ya.
Later. Bye bye.
Yeah.